Allo, allo, it's Nia. Welcome to AI Creator World Podcast, the place where creators learn how to grow faster, build smarter, and turn artificial intelligence into real opportunity. Here, we explore powerful AI tools, content strategies, personal branding systems, and new ways to create income in the digital era. If you are building something online, you are in the right place. Let's begin.
You know that deeply specific anxiety that hits when you sit down at your keyboard with a massive goal.
Oh, the absolute worst feeling.
Right. Like you have a critical project proposal or, a flagship blog post or some massive campaign email.
Yeah.
And you are immediately met with that menacing rhythmic blink of the text cursor on a totally blank white screen.
It's actively judging you.
It really is. It doesn't just sit there. It judges you. Because, you know what you want to say in the abstract, right?
Sure, the ideas are there.
But the actual physical act of translating that abstract thought into, like, linear, structured sentences, well, suddenly it feels like trying to run a marathon through wet cement.
It is the universal psychological barrier of content creation.
Truly.
Because that blinking cursor, it basically represents a massive mountain of unmanaged cognitive load.
Okay, say more about that.
Well, you aren't just figuring out what words to type. You're simultaneously trying to establish tone, architect logical flow, recall specific data points.
All at the exact same time.
Exactly. Your brain is trying to do like 4 incredibly demanding executive functions at once, which is why we so often default to just, opening a new tab and checking our email instead.
Or reorganizing the desktop folders.
Right. Anything to escape the load.
Well, defeating that cognitive overload is exactly what we are mapping out for you today. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We are taking a massive stack of data from a March 2026 article by the AI Creator World team. It's called The 9 Best Free AI Writing Tools in 2026.
It is a brilliantly comprehensive piece.
It really is. And using this source, we're going to build you a zero-cost, hyper-efficient workflow. The mission today is to completely cure writer's block while fiercely protecting your unique, authentic voice.
Which is the tricky part.
Very. So, okay, let's unpack this.
To really master this workflow, we have to look at the fundamental paradigm shift happening right now in 2026.
Because these tools aren't just autocomplete anymore.
Not at all. They aren't just autocomplete on steroids. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the core role of the human writer is currently undergoing a massive transition. Right. We are moving away from being pure, generators of raw text, and we're evolving into directors of strategy and creativity.
Okay, so offloading the heavy lifting.
Exactly. When you offload that sequential lifting to an algorithm like the literal arrangement of nouns and verbs, your brain's resources are freed up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you get to focus on the overarching narrative, the logical cohesion, and, the actual creative spark that makes a piece worth reading.
It fundamentally changes the job description. I like to think of it like a high-end restaurant kitchen.
Oh, I like that.
Right? For years, writers have basically been the prep cooks.
Yep.
Standing in the back, meticulously chopping onions, peeling potatoes, measuring out the flour, just to get ready to cook.
Sweating over the cutting board.
Exactly. But now you have this tireless, silicon-based sous chef doing all the prep work in milliseconds.
Yeah.
And you, the human, you get to be the head chef. You walk in, survey the beautifully organized ingredients, and your only job is to actually cook.
Apply the heat.
Right. Figure out the exact right seasoning and plate the dish so it feels distinctly yours. But, and I do have to push back on this a little bit,
Go for it.
if you are constantly relying on a machine to build your outlines and suggest your headings, doesn't that make the human brain lazy?
That's a fear.
Like, are we atrophying our core writing muscles by using these platforms as a crutch? Because I think a lot of beginners worry about that.
It's a super common fear, yeah. But the data from the AI Creator World team suggests it actually functions much more like an immersive language program.
Really? Like training wheels?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
When you use these platforms to generate structured drafts, you are being repeatedly exposed to high-level formatting logic.
Okay.
You're visually internalizing how a hook transitions into a core argument, or how, H2 and H3 headings effectively break up dense cognitive blocks for the reader.
Right, pacing.
Exactly. Pacing. Over time, That architectural structure just becomes second nature. It actually accelerates the learning curve for beginners, allowing them to focus entirely on the nuance of their argument.
That's a huge mindset shift.
It is, but, and this is the critical caveat from the source, that cognitive benefit only happens if you are deploying the exact right tool for the specific phase of your workflow.
Which brings us to a major inflection point in the current landscape, separating the actual signal from the noise.
Yes, because there is a lot of noise.
The market is completely flooded right now. We need strict criteria for what actually makes a tool worth integrating into your daily life.
For sure.
And the consensus in the 2026 data is that a viable platform must have near zero friction.
Right, zero friction is key.
If you have to spend an afternoon watching like tutorial videos just to generate a blog introduction, well, the tool has already failed its primary directive of saving you time.
Exactly. And the mechanism that truly eliminates that friction is the underlying prompt architecture, what these platforms commonly refer to as templates.
Right, templates, which sound basic, but they're not.
They aren't. I mean, we all know what a basic prompt is. But these templates are actually pre-engineered, highly constrained system prompts operating beneath the user interface.
Wow.
Yeah, so when you use a template for, say, an ad campaign or a newsletter intro, you are bypassing the need to understand how to constrain the model's latent space yourself.
So you aren't just staring at an empty chat box wondering how to ask the machine to be, funny but professional.
Exactly. The parameters are pre-baked right into the software. It democratizes the technology.
But wait, there is a massive trap here.
Oh.
Yeah, if these templates are just pre-engineered system prompts and millions of creators are clicking the exact same casual blog intro button,
I see where you're going.
aren't we just accelerating the homogenization of the internet? Like, are we not actively choosing to ground the web in a sea of identical, algorithmic-sounding, paint-by-numbers content?
Well, yes, if you treat the template output as the final product.
Okay.
But professional creators treat the template output purely as the underpainting of a canvas.
Oh, the underpainting.
Right. It establishes the horizon line, it blocks out the shadows. But the vivid colors, the rich texture, the subversive elements, that all still requires the human brush.
I love that.
And to prevent that homogenization, you have to understand that not all AI models are trained on the same data. The 2026 ecosystem is highly fragmented.
Which is why we need to break these tools down by their actual functional mechanics, right?
Exactly. Starting with what I call the heavy lifters.
Let's get into those.
Yeah.
These are the engines doing the heavy drafting and persuasive generation.
Yep.
And according to the source, we've got three main players dominating the free tier here: ChatGPT, WriteSonic, and Copy.ai.
Big three.
Now, we all know ChatGPT. It's the conversational generalist. You talk to it, it talks back, it helps you brainstorm.
Right.
But then you have WriteSonic, which is built entirely around search engine optimization, and Copy.ai, which is engineered specifically for high-converting marketing and persuasion.
What's fascinating here is the sheer divergence in how these models are fine-tuned.
Yeah, they are so different under the hood.
They really are. The era of the one-size-fits-all AI is basically over. ChatGPT is trained to be a helpful conversationalist. It's going to give you the most statistically likely average response derived from all human knowledge.
Right, the average.
But WriteSonic bypasses that generalism by integrating directly with live search engine results pages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it analyzes current top-ranking articles and uses natural language processing guidelines to mathematically optimize your draft for Google's latest algorithm.
That's wild.
And then Copy.ai, conversely, is fine-tuned on millions of data points of successful, high-converting ad copy and direct response marketing.
See, here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because if we look at how these architectures actually behave in real life, ChatGPT is basically your brilliant, somewhat rambling research librarian.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. You can ask it anything, but you have to actively guide it to get exactly what you need.
Constant steering.
Exactly. Whereas WriteSonic is the intense, data-obsessed SEO nerd who knows exactly the keyword density required to hit page 1.
Yep.
And Copy.ai is the slick Madison Avenue ad executive who knows the exact psychological triggers to make someone click buy.
The closer.
But practically speaking, let me push back again.
Okay.
If I already have ChatGPT open, and it is a massive, incredibly capable generalist model, why on earth should a beginner bother adding another login to their life and learning Copy.ai?
It's a fair question.
Can't the generalist do the ad executive's job if I just ask it nicely?
It can, but only through extensive what we call few-shot prompting.
Ah, okay.
To get ChatGPT to write a genuinely good product description,
Yeah.
you have to feed it the product specs, define the target demographic, command it to use an ADA framework.
Attention, interest, desire, action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have to explicitly tell it what marketing cliches to avoid. That is high cognitive friction.
Oh, yeah, that sounds exhausting.
It is. Copy.ai basically acts as a specialized wrapper. That entire complex prompt architecture I just described, it's already running in the background.
So you skip all that setup.
You literally just type in the name of your product, and it outputs professional copy instantly. Specialization equals speed.
And speed is the perfect segue to our next phase of the workflow, because once the heavy lifters have generated the raw clay of your content, you run into the next massive bottleneck, moving that text around.
Oh, the copy-paste nightmare.
Which brings us to the integrators and the speedsters. We are talking about Notion AI, Simplified AI Writer, ScaleNut, and Writer.
Yes.
These platforms are designed to attack friction from a totally different angle by putting the AI directly inside the environment where you are already working.
This is a critical development,
Okay.
and it's because of a cognitive phenomenon known as attention residue.
Attention residue. Okay, what is that?
When you are researching in one window, drafting in a second window, and running AI prompts in a third, your brain doesn't instantly switch between those tasks.
Right, there's lag.
A literal residue of your attention remains stuck on the previous tab. Constant context switching just destroys your momentum.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Notion AI brilliantly solves this by embedding the large language model directly into your workspace.
Mm-hmm.
So your research, your database, and your generative AI all exist in the exact same document.
It's literally like having a ghostwriter living natively inside your personal notebook.
Exactly.
You just highlight a bullet point you jotted down during a meeting, and you tell the notebook, expand this into a 3-paragraph argument,
Yeah.
and it just happens in line. No copying, no pasting.
Total flow state. And then for speed, you have Writire, which is just super lightweight for short sections.
Right, and ScaleNut for keeping SEO integrated. But then you have platforms like Simplified AI Writer, which attempt to bundle AI marketing copy with actual graphic design features.
The all-in-one approach?
Yeah, so you can generate your text and your social media imagery in one dashboard. But I have a serious bone to pick with the bundling approach.
Uh-oh.
Think about a spork.
A spork.
Yeah, a spork. It's a spoon and a fork, right?
Yeah.
And because it tries to be both, it's pretty terrible at holding soup, and it's pretty terrible at stabbing a salad.
That is, well, that's accurate.
If an app is trying to be your copywriter and your graphic designer simultaneously, aren't you sacrificing elite quality for the sake of just not opening a new tab?
Look, that is the eternal tension in software, right? Bundling versus best in class.
Exactly.
And you're absolutely right. Bundled tools almost always settle for good enough rather than elite performance. But you have to match the tool to the stakes of the task.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you are writing a 4,000-word flagship investigative piece, you absolutely want the specialized best-in-class depth of an isolated tool.
No, the real fork.
You want the steak knife.
Yeah.
But if you are managing 3 different brand accounts and you need to push out 6 promotional social posts before lunch, good enough is precisely what you need to survive. Volume requires frictionless bundling.
That makes total sense. High stakes get the specialist, high volume gets the spork.
Well said.
So now we have our raw text drafted, and we have it integrated into our workflow without frying our attention span. Now we hit the final and, frankly, most dangerous phase,
Yeah.
the editing.
The polish.
Right. We need to refine this algorithmic clay into a professional, distinctly human final product. Enter the polishers. Grammarly AI and Quillbot.
It is vital to understand that these platforms are categorically different from the heavy lifters.
Yes, the source is very clear about that.
You do not use these to generate ideas from scratch. They're syntactic and semantic manipulators.
Okay, break that down.
Well, Grammarly has evolved far beyond catching misplaced commas, right?
Yeah.
In 2026, its AI is actively mapping the syntactic flow of your writing.
Oh, wow.
It can analyze the formality of your lexical choices and structurally rewrite entire paragraphs to ensure crystal clear readability.
And Quillbot tackles a completely different angle. It focuses on paraphrasing and semantic restructuring.
Right.
I like to think of these two tools as different grades of sandpaper.
Sandpaper, okay.
Yeah. Grammarly AI is your super fine grit sandpaper. You use it at the very end to give the piece a flawless professional sheen, fixing the flow and the transitions.
I like that.
But Coolbot is your heavy, rough grit sandpaper. You break that out when you have a paragraph that is just fundamentally clunky, and you need the AI to aggressively strip it down and rebuild the semantic tree from a totally different angle.
That's a perfect analogy.
But editing with AI introduces a really insidious problem, in my opinion.
Which is?
When an algorithm is constantly suggesting ways to improve clarity or adjust tone, it is actively steering you toward the mathematical average of human speech.
Yes.
So does relying on the polishers inevitably strip away all of your weird, authentic human quirks?
This is the ultimate existential risk of the modern workflow.
I knew it.
These polishing algorithms are trained on vast data sets of standard, highly readable, perfectly grammatically correct text. They're optimized for frictionless consumption.
Right.
But human voice, the thing that makes you actually enjoy reading your favorite author, is defined entirely by its friction.
Oh, that's good.
It's the weird metaphors, the staccato cadence, the intentional rule breaking. If you blindly click accept on every single suggestion Grammarly or Quillbot gives you, you will absolutely sand away your soul.
Yikes.
Your writing will emerge sounding like a perfectly optimized, entirely forgettable corporate brochure.
So the human must maintain veto power.
Always.
You have to know when to look at the machine's perfectly logical suggestion, say, no, I actually want it to sound a little weird here, and hit reject.
That's the art of it.
Which leads us to the grand finale of this deep dive, building the ultimate creator workflow.
Let's do it.
We have all these distinct tools on the table, the heavy lifters, the integrators, the polishers. How do we actually snap these puzzle pieces together into a daily system?
This raises an important question about the reality of AI workflows. The overarching rule of 2026 content creation is that human editing remains non-negotiable.
The source is adamant about that.
Absolutely. You cannot pipeline raw AI text directly to publishing if you want to maintain trust and originality.
Never.
The most successful creators utilize a methodology known as tool stacking. They architect a literal assembly line.
Give me an example of that stack.
Sure. They might use the generalist, ChatGPT, to brainstorm the structural outline. Then they feed that outline into the specialized Writesonic to generate the SEO-optimized draft.
Okay.
And finally, they migrate that text into Grammarly to polish the syntax.
So what does this all mean? Because I have to be brutally honest with you.
Oh, confession time.
A few months ago, I tried to build one of these hyper-efficient AI assembly lines.
How did it go?
Terribly. I had ChatGPT open on one monitor, an SEO optimizer open on another, and I was frantically copying and pasting text between 4 different browser tabs, trying to maintain the perfect stack.
Sounds chaotic.
After an hour of managing my subscriptions and losing my formatting in the transfer, I got so frustrated I just closed everything, opened a blank text file, and wrote the thing myself.
I've been there.
Isn't managing a multi-platform AI factory ultimately more exhausting and time-consuming than just doing the work?
See, that is the classic implementation dip.
The implementation dip.
Yeah. Initially, yes, it is intensely frustrating.
Huh?
Architecting the assembly line, learning the distinct user interfaces, and figuring out how to prompt each specific tool requires a massive upfront expenditure of cognitive effort.
It really does.
But you are investing in infrastructure. Once you have internalized how the machines communicate with each other, the output velocity scales exponentially.
So it pays off.
Massively. A deeply researched article that traditionally took you 4 hours to write, it might take 45 minutes to run through a refined, frictionless AI stack.
Wow.
And for a modern creator who is required to publish multiple times a week just to maintain relevance in the algorithm, that 3-hour savings isn't just a neat trick.
Survival.
It is the literal difference between a sustainable career and total psychological burnout.
It's the pain of building the factory versus the pain of hand-carving every single car. You take the hit up front so you can cruise later.
That's the secret.
So let's lock in everything we've covered in this deep dive. We've seen how generalist models like ChatGPT and specialized tools like Copy.ai obliterate the dread of the blank page by handling the heavy drafting.
The lifters.
We've explored how integrators like Notion AI and Writer protect our attention spans by eliminating context switching.
Keeping you in the flow.
And we've learned how polishers like Quillbot use semantic restructuring to refine our output as long as we ruthlessly protect our human quirks from being smoothed over.
Never lose the quirks.
Right. The AI is the sous chef prepping the ingredients. You are the head chef deciding what actually gets served to the customer.
The technology masters the structure, the speed, and the syntax. The human creator retains absolute ownership of the strategy, the empathy, and the soul.
Spot on. And for you listening right now, the absolute best part of this 2026 landscape is that the free tiers on these platforms are unbelievably robust.
We really are.
You do not need a massive enterprise budget to build your factory. You can start today with zero financial risk.
Best time to start.
So, here is our challenge to you. Don't try to learn all 9 tools tomorrow. Pick just one specific bottleneck in your process.
Just one.
If you struggle with ideas, try ChatGPT for your next outline. If your paragraphs feel clunky, run your next draft through Quillbot. Implement one tool, observe how it alters your cognitive load, and slowly build your stack from there.
And as you begin integrating these tools into your daily life, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to consider.
Ooh, let's hear it.
We've spent this entire time dissecting how these architectures are making everyone's output faster,
Yeah.
structurally flawless, and grammatically impeccable.
True.
But in a near future where absolutely everyone's writing is perfectly optimized by an algorithm, will the most valuable, premium, standout content actually be the writing that is intentionally messy, deeply personal, and obviously unoptimized by AI?
Oh, wow. That is a fantastic question to chew on the next time you find yourself staring down a blinking text cursor.
Something to think about.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep experimenting, aggressively protect your weird human quirks, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you for listening to AI Creator World Podcast. If you found this episode valuable, make sure to follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, and share this episode with another creator who is building their future online. For deeper guides, AI tools, and step-by-step growth strategies, visit our website at aicreatorworld.net. And remember, in the age of artificial intelligence, creators who learn faster will lead the future. See you in the next episode. Bye!